I'm a little nervous about this one, I'm not gonna lie. Because
I think I'm relearning who I am.
when you open yourself up, you open yourself up to great feedback, also criticism.
Burnout is real, but for me, I feel like there's a payoff coming and I could see it, I could feel it, I could taste it.
I swear the algorithm has something against you when you go ghost for a few months. Or a few
Months,
weeks.
yeah, I was like, pack it up.
We were doing so many brand deals that it was just sucking all of the creative energy from us.
You're your own business, whether that be creating an LLC, whether that's negotiating, the manager, an agent.
I had turned down one of his offers and he said, I could have people lined up for your job. And I told him, yeah, but you're talking to me. Negotiating is a superpower.
I hate talking money.
Really?
I hate money. I love spending it.
Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Off the Record. I'm a little nervous about this one, I'm not gonna lie. Like my heart's been racing, increasingly so in the last few minutes, because our producer Jessica says, we've gotta be more vulnerable. All the crying, the tissues, all of that wasn't enough.
She said more. Play the camera.
We're like,
do
what
more.
more do you want? So this is gonna be a Q&A, and she has all of these questions drafted. We have not seen any of them.
No.
And I believe maybe we get a couple no comments. So take it away, Jess.
Ooh.
Absolutely, or like a plead the fifth, right?
Right.
So one of the many reasons I think Off the Record is so successful is because the both of you have been willing to take people on the journey with you through the transition and what you call the pivot, right? I think it's really easy for your listeners to see your landing place and believe you have arrived. But what I get to see, and I think those closest to you get to see, is that you are probably more busy, if not as busy. And you are also doing so many things, from content creation to probably negotiating your value to still pitching yourself. Like, it is not necessarily a place of arrival. It is anew. In your new roles, do you feel burned out? Do you feel yourself finding a new identity? And do you feel yourself still having to find motivation constantly?
I'll take it.
It's a good question, by the way.
Yes, burnout is real. And I think that comes with throwing yourself into everything and trying to give everything 100%. But for me, I feel like there is a payoff at the end. With everything that I'm juggling, with everything that I'm doing before and after work, late into the hours, on the weekends, there's a payoff coming, and I could see it, I could feel it, I could taste it. So it does feel worth it. But with that, it is exhausting, and everything else is on the back burner. But I also know it's for a limited period of time, and that's what I'm telling myself.
I would say, the burnout is definitely real. I think I had experienced exhaustion at work. I think we were very, very used to operating on exhaustion. Adrenaline helped a lot. Like, you didn't feel it, especially while you were on air. I was on air for 5 hours straight every day doing live interviews and all of that. And so getting in that zone and the element of live TV made it so that you wouldn't really feel your exhaustion until you got home and crashed. When you're in my space as a content creator, there's really not much of an adrenaline rush, right? Like it's also very creative. In news, it was creative to a certain extent, but let's stick to the facts.
Right.
Let's be objective. Let's put opinion aside, don't have too much fun, that type of thing. The lines were also much more clear, right? You go to work, you're in work mode, you dress up, you put on the face, you do the hair, you go on air. Once the red light goes off, for the most part, you're done. With this, everything is content. Everything is really, you can shoot anything. More and more these days where they want unpolished, BTS, raw, you could argue that every single moment can be content. So I do struggle with a little bit of guilt of, should I record this, but I don't want to? But then are you really a content creator if you don't want to record this? That tug of war back and forth creatively, I hadn't really felt in news as much.
And the appetite is insatiable. If you could create content all day, it would be consumed. But yeah, you're right. Like at work, you have a boss, a producer who's on your neck. Like you're gonna have to deliver by a deadline. But when you set the deadline, you're like, maybe I'll do this tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And there's the pressure of, like, if you don't go, I swear the algorithm has something against you when you go ghost for a few months or a few
months.
weeks.
Yeah, I was like,
I did a few months in my first trimester.
Pack it up.
right.
At that point.
But yeah, so there's this pressure to keep on producing, not just a lot, but consistently, because someone else will come up and take up that space. So it's a totally different battle. It's not as emotionally taxing as news used to be. News was very just emotionally took a toll on me, unlike anything I've ever done.
So when I hear the emotionally taxing part, I immediately think of you both were in environments like not only that required a lot of you, but it required you to be in an environment that maybe wasn't a whole lot like you. You end up creating an identity that may or may not exist, and then you become it, whatever you're called to be, right? This is so very different, the space you're in now. And so I do think environments give us space to create an identity, either what is required of us or what we have space to grow into, kind of like a plant, right? It can grow both ways. You both have a lot more space and freedom to grow into what you want to be or see for yourself. And it may be the most freedom you've ever had to do that. So what have you learned about yourself since you have disengaged from those careers?
I think I'm relearning who I am, because I think it's so easy to say what you don't want to do. And it's easy to say, like, oh, news puts me in this box. I don't feel like I'm myself. I feel this disconnect. And then when you get the freedom, it's like a dog that you let out of the cage and he doesn't know how to come out of the cage because he's been in it so long. And so for me, it's about relearning, giving myself grace, not trying to do too much too soon, but also just feel comfortable. Like I always feel like there's this inner monologue that checks me, like, oh, don't do too much, or it's a default mode to go back into like your news personality and present a certain way, particularly like when the camera's on. And so it has been a lot of shedding. It was great to hear, like the first week when I was at Extra, they were like, yeah, so your tracking voice, great, but you sound like you're delivering the evening news, right? Yeah. And I'm like, Leonardo DiCaprio. And it wasn't that serious. So that was like the first wake up call of like, oh, wow, like let me unwind. But recently, I got feedback that they were like, oh, like it feels like you're getting so much more comfortable and like you're really finding your own voice or whatnot. And I'm like paraphrasing, but that was good. But I still have a journey. And like every day I'm trying to figure out if I shed everything, who would be left?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's totally relatable. That news voice will sneak up.
Listen.
You almost feel like if you don't have the news voice, you don't sound credible.
No,
you know
and there's
what I mean? Like
something about
if it's too much like your talking voice, we are not assertive and authoritative enough.
There's also something about the red light going on that all of a sudden.
It's so true. I would say for me, the most shocking thing that I learned actually is I always prided myself on I'm the messenger, not the message, right? As a journalist, it is not my job to be the story. I share other people's story and I took that as a badge of honor. And this new role has taught me, oh girl, because you're scared to be seen. You're scared to be the message. I didn't know how scary of a concept that is for me. Part of it is habit, right? Like if I'm not talking about someone else or sharing someone else's story, it feels very self-centered and me, and all of that. But I also realized there's a fear element. And news was a really great compromise because I get to be seen, literally, but you don't really know me. And I get to pick and choose what I put out there, and I can defend it by saying, well, I'm a journalist. I don't talk about me. It has been a process. It's probably been one of the more difficult things I've done in my life as far as just work on myself, because it's scary. I have a lot of respect for people who do it because the best ones make it look easy. The payoff is good, the reward is great, but oh my gosh, it's hard. It's really hard because you take the risk of when you open yourself up to obviously like great feedback and connection, but also criticism. And when you're criticized on the things that you struggle with or you're insecure about or you're being vulnerable about, it takes a lot of bravery. So it's been a learning process.
To me, considered content creators, you're heavily leaning into content creation. As you have done that as part of your full-time careers now, what did you learn that surprised you? Or what was the thing that you were like, oh, that's harder than I thought?
Pumping it out. People make it look easy when they're posting like 5-6 times a day. And I realize like sometimes when you come from legacy media, you want things to look polished and you put too much emphasis in it and you overthink things. And you have other people. That's why sometimes like inexperience is a gift because you don't have an idea of how you should show up. You just show up. So I think that's been hard. Also the business side of it, realizing strategies involved, realizing that you're your own business, whether that be creating an LLC, whether that's negotiating, whether that's coming up with a content strategy, figuring out who you want in the business side of things, a manager, an agent, whatever it is, and thinking long-term. It looks like people just turn on their camera, but there's so much behind the scenes that goes on that I didn't think was a part of it. And I'm realizing now that like nothing is coincidental. Everything is just planning and a lot more strategic than you think.
Yeah. It is very much a business, whether you like it or not. And if you don't know it or don't like it, it probably means you're not doing the business well. Mm-hmm. You're wearing many hats. It is just as much creative as it is kind of intellectual and strategy. I think the big difference is that you're doing it like with other CEO roles and things like that, your public persona is maybe a part of it. With this, it is it. And everything else is just running on behind the scenes. So you're both a public figure and also the head of your company. And it relies on your creativity and all of that. And one of the things that Robert and I kind of realized at one point was we were doing so many brand deals that it was just sucking all of the creative energy from us. So it's also balancing, hey, you got to do a lot of organic content and also you got to take the brand deal. Like it's a balancing act. And at the end of the day, then you have the people who don't think it's a business, who don't think you're a businesswoman, who don't think you're an entrepreneur. And I get that. I think it's such a new industry that, heck, I was that person on the other side too, even while I was doing it, while I was doing, news full time and doing this on the side. And I didn't realize until I stepped into this that it is very much a business and people underestimate that. It's funny though, I have a theory. You and I have talked about this before. I think if it wasn't so dominated by women, people would say it's absolutely a business. It's a business. It's to be respected. We could learn some stuff from these people. They should be coming in and talking to these Fortune 500 companies and sharing their tips on storytelling, creativity, all of that. But I think it's because women are at the forefront of it and becoming, multi-millionaires, the Alex Earls, the Monet McMichaels of the world, that they're like, and because it's stuff that comes naturally, mostly to women, that it's like, that's not a respectable career. So it's interesting, the perception versus the reality of it.
And a lot of content creators, even like ones we've talked to on this podcast, struggle with that term content creator because it's such an overarching concept, right? Where it's like it includes someone who, I don't know, does TikTok dances, but it includes someone who now runs a multi-million-dollar business. And so because the name has been associated with something so frivolous, people struggle with like, but like my background is this, or like you really want to find something that differentiates you, that establishes you. But you just have to get comfortable being like, sorry, the check clears.
I'm still trying to find, I asked ChatGPT, what is a way to really dress up the title content creator? And all of it still sounded like you just dance in front of a camera.
You really put that in ChatGPT?
Yes, because I still get uncomfortable when people ask me, what do you do? Especially if they knew that I did journalism. Like even when I get the comments, the other day I got one, what do you do now? Like I try not to make it too obvious that I don't do journalism. Like I'm not a news anchor anymore. Because if you don't get what this is and what we're building and that this is a vehicle for a greater kind of vision and goal that I have, even if it wasn't, honestly, it's like, ooh, what a letdown. You had such a great, respectable career and you decided to just go and have some fun. It'll be interesting to see where this conversation is 10 years from now. Because I think people who, when the internet came out, and if their job heavily relied on the internet, I'm sure it was just like, that thing? Yeah. It's not going to be around for long. Or we don't even know what
web developer?
You're a web developer. Right.
Yeah. This sounds like a cheap seats conversation because all the kids that are growing up, they all want to be content creators now. So it's just the people that are older than us don't understand. But here nor there. When I heard you say the thing about being the messenger versus the message, you both came from careers that you probably had to negotiate contracts for your stay or your next round of contract. I think people probably see your visibility so well and wonder or imagine that you don't ever have to do that anymore. In what different ways have you had to stand your ground as full-time content creators and entrepreneurs to negotiate your value now?
What's interesting is before in news, you had a middleman, your agent, who would negotiate your contract. So you weren't even really privy to a lot of the conversations as it pertained to your value and what you brought to the table. And no, we're not going to take this. Yes, we'll take that, and not taking it personally. I had to do it for the first time when I was going for an anchor position at a station in Philadelphia, one of the top stations in the country. The dynamic was very much, you should be thankful that we're even. In fact, the news director said it. He said, I had turned down one of his offers and he said, you know, I could have the creme de la creme here. I could have people lined up for your job. And I told him, yeah, but you're talking to me. And that was mostly out of like frustration, right? Like it was more emotion driven. But I say that to say that was a little taste of it. And then after that, it went back to agents negotiating for the other jobs I had. Whereas now you're front and center. You see how much they're offering. You're turning this down. You're taking this away, or you know, turning down the usage or exclusivity. And you learn not to take it personally. It's not personal. You're talking numbers, and there's no reason to shy away. What I will say is you got to have the numbers to back it up. You can't just go off of, I feel like I'm worth this much. One thing that my manager does really well is like, you know, we have this conversion rate, we see this numbers, we've gotten this. You back it up with numbers, and then when you work with them, you back it up with your working relationship with them, getting stuff in on time, that type of thing. I've actually found it to be much more reaffirming than when I was in news, because it's black and white. The numbers don't lie. You know what I mean? And that makes me, I turn down more deals than I take because you're so confident that if I take this, I'm undervaluing myself and I'm setting a dangerous precedent. In news, did you know how many, like, you weren't privy to the focus groups. I know our station had focus groups. You weren't privy to any of that. It was just like, well, a lot of people say hi to me on the street. I want to take a picture. And the show has been doing really well. I think I might have something to do. It wasn't that clear. It's a little more transparent now than in news.
You're really good at it. I think you're better at this than me. I hate talking money.
Really?
I hate money. I love spending it, but that's the thing. I love spending it. I hate discussing it. I hate focusing on it, whatever it is. I just do not like money. I think it comes and it goes and it's fun and like whatever. But I will say I do not waver when it comes to negotiating my value. So like in news, I would be like, who else you got? I'm the best. Like, what else are you gonna do? And so that's easier for me. Like, I am 100% confident about like my work ethic, what I bring to the table, you know, the value that I bring. I don't waver on that. But when it comes to money.
So putting a dollar amount on it?
Yes, because I think for me, I don't value money in the sense of like, I work this hard so that I can make this much.
I see.
I work this hard so that I can reach here, right? So the money is like the next part that comes with it.
Yeah.
But I'm learning now that I also kind of have like a scarcity mentality with it. So like, if the first offer comes in and I'm like, cool, yeah, let's do it. Because I also don't value it, right? So it's like, do I want more? No, I'm happy here. Like, this is fine. But I have an attorney husband who loves to negotiate. And I'm shitting bricks and I'm just like, why are we doing this? Like, stop CCing me. And I see when he does it and I'm just like, oh, guess what? Every single time they come back and they're like, cool.
Right. Oh my gosh.
That wasn't the final offer.
People would be shocked to know that these brands or company, they're just used to people taking the first offer. That's what they're used to. And like time and time again, they come back and double it. And it's like, well, why don't we just start here? they're testing you, because whatever discount you're giving them, you've just made room in the budget for the person who knows their value.
Yeah.
And I've learned that time and time again, like, y'all got it. It's just a matter of who you're going to give it to. I remember one time, and it's like, I want them to know I'm very involved. Like, I don't shy away from numbers. Remember that time there was one brand who said, we want to talk. We had turned them down a couple of times. And they said, hey, can we hop on the phone and chat? And my manager was like, okay, Jeannette, this works for these times work for Jeannette and I. They were like, well, no, just you. I was like, what do they mean, just you? And she was just like, I think they're just used to working with content creators who aren't involved. And I'm like, no, you tell them if you join the call with just you, it's because I said it's okay. But it's this mindset of, they just go in front of the camera, just girl, put on some makeup. And they literally said, when we get to the concept stage, she can hop on. But I realized, like, oh, wow, it's this idea, particularly with women. She might get offended if we talk, real numbers and why we're offering this and this, that, and the other. She might take it personally. We don't want it to harm the relationship. And it's like, no, I'm a grown-ass woman. I run this business and I want to be in these conversations. Yeah. So that at least I'm not just out here trying to be cute.
No, I get that.
And it sets a really important tone, and it also builds your muscle. Because I used to hate talking about. I went to the bathroom. When I negotiated with my manager, I went to the bathroom. We met like 21 times. I went to the bathroom first, before, and after. Every single time. It was horrible. I know he probably saw me zip back and forth every time.
He's like, I can meet with the creme de, but I'm right here. Excuse me for a second.
Oh my gosh. And I realized it with my white counterparts. One of my coworkers said, in fact, I actually texted him yesterday thanking him for it. He told me once, he was like, let me know if you need to know how much you should be asking for. And it clicked. I was like, oh, their dynamic is totally different. He's talking to like his peer. They don't take it personally. He can tell the news director, I'm not taking this. Come on now.
I want to get there. I really do. I mean? Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow. That's when I realized, oh, this is business.
Yeah.
For me, it's just like, I don't want to offend you by saying no. Like, don't take it personally. I'm sorry, but like, no, thank you, respectfully.
Right. I hope you have a good Christmas and a happy New Year. I feel that. But like so many times I have told like my husband, like, hey, just like warm up the language a little bit. Just put a little like, hey, to it wise or something and just like
with smiley face.
Yeah, direct language still gets me. But I will say I have a good poker face because I remember, I forgot what job it was, but they gave me way more than I thought I was gonna get. Because that's the thing, I can negotiate my value and like stick with like, no,
right.
Like I'm gonna take this job because like who else do you have that is qualified like me? So then when the number came back, I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, all right, should we counter? Or like I was talking to my agent and he was like, I'll come back. And they came back with more and I was like, okay. I was like, oh, no, like,
right.
I'll take it. Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
Like, freaking out. But I really want to get to that point where like 2-word emails.
Yeah, negotiating is a superpower that everybody should have, particularly Black women. Because we're often undervalued, underpaid, and we feel like we should just be happy to have a seat at the table.
I knew I was bad when I was trying to get my first car. I was with my dad, and we're at the dealership, and I forgot what they said. Let's say like 10,000. I forgot what it was, 2008. And the guy goes, "It's 10,000." I go, "Yes!" And my dad was so mad.
I know, he was so pissed.
Yeah, he was like, "You can't," and I was like, "Oh," but. And he was like, no, you never show reaction.
Yeah. Like, act like you've been here.
Right. So it's a work in progress.
Okay, as much as I would love to continue the content creation conversation, because this is good, you both mentioned your husbands. One of the other reasons that people love to watch this show is because you both do present something that on the outside people want. They want to be successful. They want to love the way that they look. They want to create content that feels good to them. They want to be happily married.
Yeah.
Give me a little insight into the role that your husband's, I mean, you already said your husband is an attorney and helps you negotiate. Give me some insight into how your husbands have had to adjust and been supportive of these new roles.
I would say with Robert, I would say the foundation of our relationship has always been, and it was one of the signs for me that he was the one, is my win is our win. Even it was never like, if she got this, like I got to get on my game. in a competitive sense. It was like, man, we got that. And it goes both ways. And so neither party feels threatened. When I first got my job in DC and we were both in Little Rock, he was so happy for me. And I'm gonna be honest with you, if it was the other way around, I'd have been like, you gonna leave me here in Little Rock? Because I was just like
sabotaging his career.
I was like, God, I was like, I'm going to DC. But he was just so happy for me. And then when I wanted to take the Philly job and he was in DC, he was so happy for me. And having a partner who genuinely feels like your win is his win, and he's wondering how he can support you. That's the first thing. How can he support you? Goes a really, really long way. But it also means having a partner who's confident, who doesn't have a fragile ego. The worst is having a man whose ego you have to protect all the time, in terms of any little thing could just send him into a spiral or a tailspin. I've never felt like I've had to walk on eggshells with Robert. And that goes a really long way, both for my peace of mind, me feeling comfortable shining and really like relishing my wins, because some women will kind of dim that a little bit. And yeah, and just in our relationship in general.
Yeah. Jordan's a giver. Like, that man is helping everyone.
Yeah.
And he's everyone's biggest cheerleader. Like, he really sees himself, like, the way he just uplifts everyone around him, and like anything he could do to help. Like, there's so many people that he like looks over legal documents for, and all this is for free, just to like help his friends.
Yeah.
And he does whatever he can for the people around him. For me, like, he has, like, we're custom made for each other, because of the fact that like anywhere that I fell short, like I got as far as I did, you know, keeping my head down, working hard, but like where I fell short is where he comes in and pushes me even more.
Yeah.
Or like shows me something different and is like, oh, like, you don't have to think of it this way. Maybe it's this way. And then I see things in a completely different way. No fragile ego.
Oof,
like,
yeah.
he would,
Yeah.
I could be Oprah and he'd be like, cool, let me be Stedman.
Yeah.
But
I want to be,
you know, like, but like, let me be Stedman.
Yeah.
That man, if he could stay at home with the kids, would in a heartbeat. But it's just crazy. Like, now he does more for me than I even ask. Like, we'll go above and beyond.
Yeah.
If I say like I want to take a picture, he'll bust out his camera and like all day spent doing that. If I ask him to record something, if I say I want to buy something, like I just said I wanted a camera, he bought it for me the other day. So it's like the selflessness that I thought was important to me, because for me, like, I thought marriage was going to stifle me. Like, I pushed off relationships so much because I thought there was going to be a man who comes around and is like, this is cute, let's have kids now so you could like, and wrap this up.
When you say that, it reminds me of a saying I heard, which pretty much sums up what makes a good partner, especially for women. If you're looking for a good man, is find a man who's looking to be a husband and a father and isn't looking for a wife and mother. Because the difference in those perspectives is what can you do for me? How can you add to my life? As opposed to how can I add to your life? How can we collaborate? And they see you as more than just someone who serves them. And it goes such a long way. I saw this TikTok recently, the comments were just so depressing. But they were saying, like, women, what have you not said out loud about marriage? And one woman said, his life will be better when you get married. Yours won't. And it was this conversation about, you're gonna do everything you do for yourself, and now you're gonna have to do it for somebody else too, and the kids. And I'm like, man, it really matters who you decide to do life with, right? And how they view partnership and marriage and you as a woman and your ambitions and your goals and the role they play in that, and that you don't do that on your own. You do that as a team. It helps a lot that Robert has 6 aunts. Most of them don't have kids. And most of them are, in fact, all of them, extremely successful, Ivy League educated, financially well off, and all of that, because he's able to see women as more than just, well, what are you to me? And if you find a man who sees that, he knows that it's to his benefit to make sure that you are fulfilled first as a woman, and that it makes everything around you better when you have that fulfillment.
Oh yeah, I'm a very big advocate of like men who see women as a human. Like it sounds so,
it's a wild
it's
concept.
really depressing, but like as a whole human being with like their own aspirations, their own dreams, not as a supporting cast member, as you mentioned. And I think something that really stood out to me that I like was subconsciously picking up on with Jordan is like, he was really close to his sister and admired his sister. And his sister was like a really strong woman. So it was like, I could see that he saw someone who was ambitious, respected, learned a lot, valued, and felt like she had things to offer, was intelligent, could learn things from her. So for the way that he dealt with me was that he felt like he could learn things from me. He wasn't coming in here like, I'm the, you know, I'm the man. Let me show you how it's done. I don't think he, in fact, has ever said that. It's always been a partnership, and that's always been important to me. But I really do think that if that's important to you, like, see how the guy that you're with interacts with other women that he has platonic relationships with, and see if he respects them,
especially
if
women
he talks highly of them.
Women who can't do anything for him, right? There's no vested interest, and see how he treats them, especially the women in his family.
I had a guy friend who was just like, I don't care what the woman I'm with does, because I got it. And I'm like, damn, you don't value, like, she ain't got dreams, like, maybe, you know what I mean? It's like, he just did not care but the way I took it is like, you didn't care what her passions were. But and for him, he felt like, oh, no, I'm gonna provide, so she doesn't need to work or do anything. But I'm like, you know that she probably has a passion too.
Yeah.
And things that fulfill her.
Yeah.
But great guy.
Right. Oh, and the last thing, when you said provide, a man who knows that his self-worth is not just in financially providing for the family. If his value hinges on that, all you need is a lost job, a layoff, a tough economy, and suddenly it throws everything, right? They spiral. Knowing and letting your partner know, your husband or your boyfriend know, that you are more to me than just someone who financially provides for the family, goes a really long way.
In your opinion, because you have an opinion, because you both have successful marriages, with all of the noise right now around modern love and dating, especially successful women, because I heard it too, how useful it is that Robert has 6 aunts, but I also heard 6 aunts that don't have kids with Ivy League degrees.
Oh, some of them do.
Some.
Yeah, but most of them don't. Yeah.
So, and I hear that all the time, and I think a lot of us hear that more than on average now, is that a higher percentage of successful women do feel like they have to choose, or are divorced, or may not have kids. And so we can keep talking about it, but something has to change. And the chicken or the egg seems to be who needs to change, the men or the women.
Right.
And so in your opinion, from 2 successfully married women, what do you think needs to change?
I think society needs to change. I think the problem is that we have these gender norms that worked for some people and worked at it during a time period, and so much has changed socially, and we haven't kept up with that. And instead of trying to adapt, we're trying to regress, and it's not going to happen because, for example, like, we are not in an economy where it's a 1-income household. And so to try to duplicate that, or to try to duplicate the dynamics of that, but not be able to provide it. And so then therefore you have women who are doing twice as much work while contributing to the household and trying to do the childcare. I don't think that is possible.
Right.
And I think we need to challenge that, because I feel like they're outdated norms.
Yeah. You know what, too? I'll also add
that are rooted in a patriarchal society.
Just a little sprinkle of that. I'll also say, I don't know where we got this idea that relationships are cookie cutter. Like, what works for one person has to work for everybody. I don't know. Like, it hit me a few years ago where I'm like, why am I making Robert, why do I want him to do something? Because I see it on social media, or I see it in movies, or I see it when people talk about couple goals. First off, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And secondly, every relationship is different. Every dynamic is different. You got stay-at-home dads, you got stay-at-home moms, you got both of them working, you got like, and I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, what works for them might actually hurt my relationship, and vice versa. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. Whatever makes you feel respected, fulfilled, and happy is what we should go after. The big difference, and I think the biggest harm that we're experiencing now versus back when our parents were younger, is that we are inundated with highlight reels of relationships. Like it was like the Joneses in the neighborhood. Now it's like the Joneses of the world. And it makes you feel like everything, like you're the only one going through this. You have it the worst. Your partner needs to be better. I need to be better. And it makes you feel like just being in a relationship is settling. Just being in a relationship. Like there's this constant looking to see, well, what am I missing? Should I be with this? It looks like there's something better over there. And that feeling of, what's the word? Like I don't know if it's paradox of
the
choice.
grass is greener.
This grass is greener thing is killing us. It's killing us. And once we can confront that the grass is greener where you water it, it's the conversations that you're having with your partner and how you can customize your relationship according to your values. That's where I think we'll see happier couples.
Yeah. I don't know why. I've never fell for the Joneses thing.
Really?
Never been envious. Yeah. I don't know. I just think, again, I think is rooted in like, I can do it. Like,
do you feel,
or I don't know. I don't know where it comes from.
Did you ever feel like, well, they seem to go out more, or the husband seems to be more romantic, but was it you that said you don't really care for romanticism?
I think I have a good bullshit radar. And so I'm always like, it feels like this is a little performative.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe I look into, I'm always like self-reflecting. Like, what can I improve? What can I improve? Instead of being like, oh, look what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm like too inward.
That's good.
But I will say one thing that I think, and I hope it's not controversial, but I do think that sometimes we let society dictate or give us limiting beliefs, for example. So it's like, oh, there's no good men, or nobody wants X, Y, and Z type of woman that I am, or whatever. Like, I don't think I've ever had that. And then I feel like you move differently.
Yeah.
Because then you don't put, and I understand that there are a lot of isms, right? Like racism, sexism, colorism, isms that do affect us.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you constantly have that in your mind, then you're also gonna have confirmation bias.
Yeah.
And so you have to like let go of that and like go of trying to anticipate how people will perceive you and go just show up as you are.
Yeah, I agree. You like set yourself, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Last thing I'll say, this whole, you see it a lot on TikTok. If he wanted to, he would. If like, it's like these extreme like, or one and dones. If they do this, I'm done. They've got to be the finished product. I just think relationships take work. It takes investment. It takes communication. People can't read your mind. You've got to, in some ways, teach someone how you want to be loved. And I think we think they're supposed to know. We watch the movies and it's like they should know. If they don't know, then they're not the ones for me.
Yeah.
But that's just my 2 cents. All that to say, I don't have all the answers. If I were out on the dating scene, because I hear it's rough out here. And I'll say on this side, things aren't always perfect.
You got married young.
I got married at 20. That's so funny because I got married at 27. But like my sister got married at 21. Like I'm like, that's young.
I'm like, oh, you were a child.
I know.
You were just coming into your prime.
Right. Yes.
That is hilarious.
We dated for 3 months. Yeah. We got married at 27. He was 29. But yeah, we were one of like the few in our group who got married at that age. But we met at 23. I was 23, 22, 23. And we grew together. That's helped us. Like we built this big brick by brick together. Like we can call bullshit on each other. Like you weren't, now the Robert I knew at IHOP couldn't pay the bill. Like what are you talking about? You only do Uber Black. So that's been great. I don't think that applies for everybody. Like I was able to see with Robert potential. Like I could see I can build with this person. And I want to build with this person. Like I want to go through the highs and lows, the rough patches, all of that. Some people, and that's okay. Like I said, whatever works for you. Some people it's like, no, I need the finished product with a bow on top.
Yeah.
But then you've got to be realistic about your options.
Listen, if things go left, I'm burning this place down. We did not build all of this.
I know.
We get to throw it away.
That's why I get women where it's like they lose it because it's like, I met you back.
I would turn into a Tyler Perry movie. I'm not
Dude,
gonna lie.
like Michelle Obama met Barack Obama when he had a hole in the
Yeah.
bottom of his car. Like,
Yeah.
I swear.
I'm not that strong, but like, I respect it. And you better not act like you're the president because I will check you.
Not us being like the humbler in chief.
I'm not gonna lie. I was not. I had
You were not trying to do
I
all
was
that.
not in the trenches. I couldn't be. We can't
But you
both be
met-
in the
but
trenches.
You met later on.
We did.
You
Yeah.
met,
Yeah.
how old?
I was 29 when
Yeah.
we met. So by then, like, I feel like as you get older, you're less and less forgiving for the decline of at 29.
Right.
That's a red flag.
Yeah, that is a red flag. Yes.
How have you kicked the door down and let joy in? Because I think it requires so much presence. And it sounds like, you know, the spaces you came from kept you mentally, physically, and emotionally busy. How have you let joy in? Because I heard it in an episode earlier where you mentioned you kind of felt like it was like money and happiness can't go together.
Yeah.
And now you have a lot of
We are
freedom.
mutually exclusive.
He's greedy.
For me, it was, and it started in my second to last job in news, so Philly. Going from Philly to DC, industry-wise, right, like market size and all of that, it was a downgrade. Like there was a lot of like, what the hell is she doing? Like she is at the pinnacle of local news. She's set for life and she's gonna go to, that was the beginning of me pushing back on, I'm not going to let your definition of what success and happiness looks like define that for me. So that was the first step. The second step was leaving Fox 5 and pivoting and walking away when everybody was like, as I'm saying, this was my dream job. I don't want to do it anymore. I want something more. Like I believe that my personal life should also be just as fulfilling, and it shouldn't have the leftovers. So I would say that rejecting society's definition of joy, being intentional about seeking it out, and celebrating it with the people who've been in the trenches with me, like my mom, for example, celebrating those wins with them because they get it, and not letting in the other people who are like, you left news? Why would you do that? Because that'll kind of, it can sow doubt if you're not fully firm. Now I am. Now I'm like, I'll check you. But
Like, and I left.
it was looking a little iffy early on. What about you?
For me, it's letting the other shoe drop. I think I'm always like, I could catastrophize things, right? When things are good, I'm like, but they can go left, so be prepared, right? Like I never want to be caught off guard.
Yeah.
And that I realized prevented me from a lot of joy because you're like, don't be too happy because tomorrow, who knows what can happen? And so I always found myself anticipating the next catastrophe or like not celebrating because I didn't want to be so consumed in that. And then tomorrow I'm blindsided with disappointment, right? And so in the moment, getting excited about things or wins, celebrating the small wins, and being like, if it all blows up, that's okay.
Yeah.
I will survive because guess what? I prepared for like, I'm at this point, what do they call those people that like have bunkers? I'm like disaster, doomsday prepper, like, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, none of those catastrophes actually came true, but what it did instead is it limited my joy and my celebration. And so now just realizing that like, I can weather whatever storm it is and whatever drops, like I'll survive it.
I part with peace. we got there, ladies. I love it.
Thank you, Jessica. And thank you guys for tuning into another episode of Off the Record. We always do appreciate it. We appreciate your support. We appreciate when you guys subscribe because this is how we're able to bring you guys more content and more of the things you love. So we're so grateful for you, the group chat.